God bless you guys. All right, I just got to check something. I just want to make sure I'm in the right place. Tell me, who is your president? That's my president, too. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was with friends and family, not with Antifa or BLM or Democrat socialist. Did anybody in here vote for Joe Biden? Do you guys really think he won? I didn't see this kind of support for a man that stayed in a basement for an entire year campaigning, did you? No. Well, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Listen, oh, I love you too. Let me tell you all what we're doing, and it's really important. Matt Gaetz and I got together, and I said, we got to do something. We live in the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. We're a nation of people that aren't going to lay down to socialism, are we? No. That's right, screw socialism. That's how I feel about it. So here's what we're doing. We are getting all of you together. This is very, very important because it's time to bring hope back to the people of this country that love America, that love our freedoms, that love our Second Amendment rights, that love the past 4 years where we had a president that showed us what America First policies looked like, that put our American businesses first, the American people first, that wasn't wrapped up. President Trump was not wrapped up in identity politics, was he? No, there was one thing he used to say, and I used to love it, and he still says it, is in America, we all bleed red, white, and blue. God bless America for that. So we're starting these America First rallies, and we're going to take them across the country. Because I'll tell you something, I'm a first-time Congresswoman. I've never held office before. I'm a regular person, just like every single one of you. And there's one thing I believe with all my heart is the people of this country are what matters. And it's the people of this country that make this country work. It's the small business owners, the people that go to work every single day and work long hours and make ends meet. It's our truck drivers. It's the people that work in our small businesses, our restaurants, construction companies, all kinds of small companies across this country that love it so much, that don't ask for a handout. You work hard every single day, you pay your taxes, you do everything right, but now you're being controlled in a government that is trying to take away all your freedoms. We're not going to let that happen. And I know for a fact when we pull everyone together, because it's the people in America that can make it change, right? I believe in people over politicians. Well, like many of you, I've been a business owner for the past 2 decades, and I never really was interested in politics a whole lot. I sure as heck never wanted to be a member of Congress. This is a really dirty, rotten job, I can tell you that much. But there was a certain person that ran for president in 2016. And I liked what he had to say. I understood what he had to say. And it made sense to me to have someone like that running our country. He was a businessman. And then I'll tell you what happened. We elected him. We got the Republican-controlled House, the Republican-controlled Senate, and Donald J. Trump in the White House. And I thought, wow, things are about to happen. We're going to build the wall. We're going to defund Planned Parenthood. We're going to defund sanctuary cities. Yeah. We're going to repeal Obamacare. And I thought, wow, this is fantastic. But guess what? That didn't happen. Didn't happen in the first 2 years under President Trump with Republicans running the show. What? Did y'all say rhinos? Yeah. Okay, well, let me explain to you all what they don't understand in Washington, D.C., and what the political consultants and those that run everything in Washington and the staff that never ever leaves, they just move around, they don't understand what you all just said. Rhinos, Republican in name only. They don't understand that how regular people, which is all the voters, by the way, 75 million people, are tired of Republicans saying these things but not delivering, right? Wait, say it again. Good, we want everybody to know that. So, here's the deal. That's when I started paying attention, when Nancy Pelosi took the gavel. And so I said, you know what? We make it work every single day in the real world. We're able to pay our bills. We're not in debt. We're able to achieve things, and I think it's time for real people to go to Washington. And so that's why I'm a member of Congress. And they don't like me very much. Thank you. And I love you because you are the people I understand. You see, I got to Washington, and I wasn't there very long. It was literally the second day when we had to vote on the rules in Congress. And let me tell you what they decided to do. Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats decided that they were going to erase gender in the rules for the 117th Congress. Yeah, imagine that. You can't say he, she, him, her, mother, father, daughter, son, brother, sister. I'm sitting there going, wait, have these people lost their minds? Oh, let me tell you, I found out a lot more how crazy they are. And they call me crazy, which is really funny. So we voted on that, and, well, I voted against it, and so did a lot of other people, but the Democrats said, yeah, we don't believe in gender. We aren't going to say these pronouns and so forth. And then the days went on. Well, let me tell you, the bills that they introduce are atrocious, and I want to inform you all about something that I was shocked by. You wouldn't believe how many bills, as a matter of fact, most of them get passed by people saying their vote. We have 435 members of Congress. But yet, here's what they do. With a handful of members, maybe 10 or less Democrats and 10 or less Republicans, they call the bill to the floor and we vote on it. And the Democrats, because they're voting on all of their bills, go, yay. And then all of us Republicans are like, nay. But sadly, some Republicans say yay, which I still haven't figured out. And then it passes. Well, I want to tell you, the first time I saw a bill pass like that, I think it was audible when my chin hit the floor. You see, I believe that all members of Congress should actually vote. What do you guys think? Isn't that a novel idea? Well, you see, the Democrats in charge were so sweet to me, and then there were I think, 11 Republicans, something like that, 10 or 11. I have that list. I'm hanging on to it. That were so nice to give me some free time. And they decided to kick me off committees over a few things that they didn't like on Facebook some years back. And so it was pretty interesting. They said they didn't want me on committees, and I was like, oh, thank God, because the Democrats are running the committees, and they don't listen to Republicans anyways. And I'm the kind of person, I'm a business owner. I've accomplished a lot. I've been a competitive athlete, and I like to compete, and I hate to lose. If you want to give me some time on my hands, then you better believe I'm going to figure out smart ways to use it. So, I got with some people, some smart people, and I learned a little bit about floor procedure and floor action and how all this stuff works there in the chamber. And then I found out that I can make things happen, and I don't even have to be on committees. And I found out I can force every member of Congress to vote on bills that are brought to the floor. Because you want to know, right? And I don't think this is a Republican issue or a Democrat issue. This is an American people issue. Everyone deserves to know how their member of Congress votes. So I started calling, Madam Speaker, I'd like the yays and nays. Well, let me tell you, you'd have thought that a bomb went off in there, and that would be a really bad thing. Because everyone was very upset with me about that. Oh, the audacity of that Marjorie Taylor Greene calling for recorded votes. How dare she put us on record? Yeah. Let me tell you all the things that were very offensive. Number one, guess what they had to do? When you call for a recorded vote, that means everybody's got to stop what they're doing, and they have to walk down to the chamber with the voting card, put it in there, and you vote. Well, does that sound so difficult to do? No. Oh, you'd have thought that it was the hardest thing ever. We were making these people work. Oh, the complaining. Well, the Democrats were very upset because it was messing up the schedule, because they're trying to ram through all the socialist bills they possibly can. You know, like the Equality Act that puts biological men in our bathrooms and in our girls' sports. How do you guys feel about that? All right, I'll come back to that. I have a good story for y'all. Okay, and they had a bunch of other bills, you know, like allowing felons to vote from prison. Do you think that's a good idea? Murder people and then you get to vote? I don't think so. Cori Bush likes that one, by the way. That was her bill. So here's what we did. So I started calling for these recorded votes, and Democrats were, you know, really upset because it was messing up the schedule and it was taking a lot of time, and everybody had to stop what they're doing. They had to stop their lunches and stop their fundraising calls and get up from their nap and all kinds of things and come down and vote. Well, it wasn't just the Democrats that were upset with me. It was the Republicans also. Yeah. Well, guess what? As a matter of fact, I got chewed out quite a few times, and it wasn't by Democrats because they don't talk to me. It was by Republicans. Yeah. Do you want to know what they said? Oh, yeah. Marjorie, you don't want to do this, Marjorie. I said, why? Why not? Well, you're going to put people on record. You just need to let these things pass quietly, and you can vote your conscience, Marjorie. You can say yay or nay. I was like, that's not what I'm here for. I know how to do a job, and I like to work hard. But just like you, just like all of you, just like the American people, well, except the ones that love getting paid their bailout checks and staying home and won't go to work. That's another issue. So I got chewed out for making people vote. And it was Republicans that didn't like it. Well, we can just go with the RINOs. Y'all want names, don't you? See, this is what they don't understand. And it's on both sides of the aisle. They've been there so long that they only know how to function together, and they forget who they work for. They work for you. Well, let me tell you, once we started putting them on record and calling for recorded votes, and I started getting help from my friends in the House Freedom Caucus, by the way, and I started getting help from people like Matt Gaetz, and we started calling for recorded votes. Well, that changed things, and here's how it changed. For instance, there was one week, there were 28 bills that were set to go out there, and I said, put it on Twitter, because evidently Twitter is where you tell everybody everything, unless you get kicked off, right? I said, I'll be calling for the yays and nays. And then all of a sudden, magically, boy, that list got dropped down. There was only 5 bills that came through that week. And I'll tell you one more thing that really, really sets them off. It's when I ask for a motion to adjourn. Oh. Well, that really upset people. A motion to adjourn is very important. It's when you're saying Congress needs to go home. Congress needs to stop. I want to call for a motion to adjourn every single day because Congress is so out of control. Congress needs to stop and go home. So let's talk about science. Do you guys believe in science? Trust the science, right? I'll tell you a quick story about my neighbor across the street, my neighbor across the hall. Apparently, I have a Democrat across the hall. I didn't know it because, again, they don't really talk to me much. Anyways, I found out because there was a video on Twitter, and it was the week of the Equality Act, and I had been pretty vocal about that, saying that's not a good idea. And there was a video on Twitter that was tagging me with my neighbor across the hall, Democrat Representative Marie Newman. And I'd never met her, and usually I'm from the South. When we meet our neighbors, we do it with like a plate of cookies or some brownies or something, maybe a bottle of wine. That's not how I met my neighbor. She put a video up where she started the video on my nameplate by my door that y'all don't get to see because they don't allow you in the buildings that you pay for in Washington, D.C., by the way. Anyways, the video started on my nameplate, and then it went to her where she planted the trans flag right by her door. And then she did her hands. I was like, okay, well, who's this lady? Oh, my goodness, she's across the hall. So I said, okay, well, I'll do my video to her. And it's evidently been seen a lot. So we started a video on her nameplate, and then it panned over to me, and I put a sign on the wall. There's only 2 genders, male and female. Trust the science. So I lovingly call her now Maria New Person because she doesn't believe in gender, so why call her Newman? She's like, New Person. And I've left my sign up, so when Nancy Pelosi decides that the taxpayers can come to Washington and go in the Capitol again and the office buildings again, I really hope you all come to visit me and take a picture by my sign. I would very much like that. Let's talk about some other things. Do you all think that Joe Biden should be impeached? Yeah, I think so too. As a matter of fact, I introduced articles to impeach Joe Biden. And I really don't care if Republicans are in the minority. I think we still need to work to impeach Joe Biden. And you do too. You see, Joe Biden has a certain weakness, and his name is Hunter Biden. And Hunter Biden has a certain affinity with doing business in Ukraine and China. Yeah, and I think that's a little problem for the President of the United States, and it's a bigger problem for the American people. Because the Democrats impeached President Trump over a perfect phone call, by the way. So, I don't think that's the way that it works. And I think accountability is important. After all, the American people, all of you and all of me, all my life, we've had to be accountable, right? Nobody just lets us off the hook because we're friends with all the right people. Isn't that so? No. And the American people deserve to see our leaders who are paid with our tax dollars held accountable for doing wrong to the American people. Well, that was about 2 weeks before I got kicked off my committees, so maybe that had something to do with it. Let's talk about a lovely lady named Maxine Waters. I can't believe y'all don't like her. She's been serving in Congress, I think, longer than I've been alive. Well, how do you guys feel about a member of Congress traveling to another state that she doesn't live in, where there have been riots night after night, going there late at night, staying out past curfew, demanding a certain verdict for a trial that was still going on? I think that's inappropriate, don't you? And then telling the rioters, the people that are rioting, breaking the law, by the way, getting arrested at night, saying, what was she saying? Be more confrontational. Stay in the streets. Take to the streets. Break the curfew. Be more confrontational. Well, here's the question that we need to ask. After a year that the American people had to deal with watching cities burn, cities on fire, businesses looted, innocent people attacked, streets blocked, people in cars and trucks attacked, police officers night after night being attacked, and so much more. Innocent people like retired police officer David Dorn being murdered. Let me ask you all, what is more confrontational than that? What did Maxine Waters mean? Maxine Waters should be expelled from Congress. So I introduced a resolution to expel Maxine Waters. I've also introduced a lot of legislation that they keep saying, Marjorie, we can't get that done. I've introduced very strong border legislation. Yeah. I've introduced very strong Second Amendment legislation to protect your gun rights. Many, many bills. I've co-sponsored many bills, and I want to tell you, here's what they don't understand, and here's what you understand, and I understand, is you don't get something done in a day. You lay the groundwork, and we may be in the minority, and that does not matter, but we should be introducing strong legislation. We should be introducing articles of impeachment on Joe Biden, resolutions to expel Maxine Waters. You want to know why? Because they need the message that this is what we're going to do when we get in the majority. And the Republicans in Congress need a lesson from the American people, the Republican voters, and the Republican donors. Money talks, everybody. That's right. You are the majority. Here's what Republicans in Congress need reminded of. The American people, the Republican voters and donors, don't want to be told stuff on Fox News. They don't want to be told things on the campaign trail. They don't want to be told anymore. Republicans voters and donors and people that would join the Republican Party, but they don't because they see Republicans fail, is they want to see action. You want to see action. And we didn't see that action in the first 2 years in a Republican-controlled Congress under President Trump, did we? And that's why we ended up with Democrats controlling everything in the next 2 years. See, they don't think that's true, but that is true. Exactly. We know that's true. So we have an opportunity going into 2022, and let me tell you what America First rallies are all about. We need to send a message. Here is the message. You see, the Democrats, the people in charge right now that put a great big fence and put a whole bunch of military up there around the Capitol to let you all know that you can't go there. The Democrats that say they won the presidential race, the Democrats that are working very, very hard and very fast and aggressively to pass their socialist agenda for America. The Democrats that shame you all the time for supporting Trump. The Democrats that shame you for supporting America First. The Democrats that call you ugly names like deplorable and insurrectionist and all these ugly names that trash you. But guess where you hear that from the most? Where do you hear it from the most? The media. You hear it from the media. That's right. So you get told every single day, oh, if you want election integrity, you're a terrible person. Well, guess what? It's the hashtag resist crowd. It's the same women that went to the Women's March after President Trump was elected and dressed in female genitalia. It's the same people that believe the Russian collusion conspiracy lies and the media that preached it and preached it and preached it till everybody wanted to throw up. Those are the same people telling you you don't have a right to see transparency in your elections. What do y'all have to say about that? That's right. So here is what's going to happen with America First rallies. This is very important. We are coming out strong. And we are coming out very loud and very proud. And we are coming out like we did for President Trump at all these rallies because we have a message for the Democrats and the fake news media. You are not going to destroy our country. You are not going to shame us for being proud American patriots. You are not going to put us down for loving President Trump and what he did for the past 4 years. You see, they thought you were going to not come out anymore. They thought they have intimidated you. They thought you were defeated. They thought that you people were done. We're not done. No, we're not done. And I'll tell you why. Here, they don't understand why. You want to know why? Here's why. Because all of us are people that love this country. We love what it means to be an American. We don't care about people's skin color and gender and all of this identity politics garbage. We don't want to be divided. We want to be Americans together. Thank you. I love you too. You see, here's what I know about you, because it's the same thing about me. We're grateful. We know that what it means to be an American is something special. We know that it's what people all over the world want, right? And we know for a fact that people died and bled to give us these freedoms, and we're so grateful for it. That's right. And God bless you. If you're a veteran in here, stand up. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. See, the veterans that serve this country, they're the greatest men and women in this nation. They sign up. None of these veterans signed up to go serve and protect our country because they wanted America to be a socialist nation. No. You signed up for freedom because you love it and you want to preserve it not only for yourself but your family, your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and people in the future you know you'll never meet. And see, that's something that has been forgotten, and it means something. You see, there's something else I know about every single one of you. You're tired of the lies. You're tired of the moral degradation of our society. We don't want our children taught there's no such thing as gender. That's stupid. We don't want to pray to the climate gods and confess our sins and pass the Green New Deal. No, thank you. Electric vehicles are cool. I like them, and I think that's awesome technology, and we want to keep our earth clean, and we want the most beautiful earth in the whole world, but do we want to destroy the oil and coal industry? No. We don't want to do anything that destroys our economy. We want to build our jobs. But our government's been paying people to stay home, haven't they? Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm not supposed to say it, but I really want to. Yeah, they've been paying people to stay home for a year, and guess what? What is that doing? Nobody wants to go to work. No one's going to work. It's hurting everything. That's right. We also need to end abortion. That's the biggest thing we need to do. Over 62 million people murdered in the womb, and none of our tax dollars should ever pay for it. We have a lot of work to do, America. And so this is why we're here. We're building hope. We're pulling everybody together because we're not finished. As a matter of fact, we're just getting started, aren't we? So you guys plan to stick around. I hope you're not going to leave anytime soon. No, you need to stay. So, number one, share this with your friends. Share this with your family. America is the greatest country in the world. Yes? My favorite president, President Trump. Your favorite president, President Trump. He has not quit. He's not given up. And he loves all of you. He loves you guys. And we love him, don't we? But here's what we need. That's right. Yep. And he loves you, and I guarantee you he's watching, so he knows you love him. Yep. All right, so starting today, America First policies are the way to save this country. Am I right? I need more people in Congress that believe in this, that don't want to be a swamp creature, that don't want to be bought off, that actually want to do the job. And it's a hard job. We give up a lot to do this job. I don't want to be there. I have a great life. I have a lot more fun at home with my family and my friends. But I'm there because I believe we have to save this country. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm with you. So I'm going to give up this microphone because there's someone else here that you definitely need to hear from because he's so great, and I'm so happy I serve with him. But most importantly, remember this, and I want you to rise up. I want you to tell all of your friends and your family that from now on, it's people over politicians, and we're going to save America and stop socialism by putting America first. God bless you guys.
Where should we go? Marjorie Taylor Greene asked me to kick off the America First rally tour. The Villages, I said. Thank you all so much. I cannot tell you how much this means to me to have you here supporting Marjorie and I. I'm a marked man in Congress. I'm a canceled man in some corners of the internet. I might be a wanted man by the deep state, but I am a Florida man, and it is good to be home. You're the lucky ones. You got in. There are more than 1,000 people outside that wanted to be here. And I think 2 of them might have been Antifa. There is not a strong Antifa chapter in the Villages. I don't think any of the people on the Republican side running for president in 2024 could draw a crowd this big if their name wasn't Donald Trump. And so today, we send a strong message to the weak establishment in both parties. America First isn't going away, we're going on tour. Here in Florida and across this great country, we love America so much. and we will not wave the flag of surrender in the face of the Democrats, the socialists, the deep state, or the establishment. America is too precious, we love her too much, and we will never stop fighting for her. This is our first stop, but there will be many more, and America's greatest president and the undisputed leader of the Republican Party, Donald J. Trump, might join us on a few, or we might join him. We have never abandoned Trump, and he has never abandoned America. He is still fighting for us. He will continue to fight for us, and we're going to have his back when he does. The way forward is not a repackaged, regurgitated version of Paul Ryan's Better Way. And it's certainly not the Green New Deal and the socialist way. Our way, America first, will rule the day. Isn't it obvious? It's our ideas, it's our patriotism and positive populism that fills the rallies from the prairies of Wyoming to the villages of Florida. On immigration and trade, we will stand with America's workers, not the socialist billionaires or the corporate woke-topians. We will oppose the forever wars that send America's bravest patriots to faraway lands for unknowable gain, and we will stand with American families against the genderless, blue-haired woke-topians of the Chaz. They tried to make part of Seattle an autonomous zone. Then they took over the Democratic Party, and they actually made the Democratic Party their autonomous zone. We will make sure that America is an autonomous zone for freedom and liberty and success and prosperity, and we will not apologize for it 1 minute. To my friend, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, we know Georgia needs you. There's a lot going on in Georgia, but you should consider Florida your second home. You would make a great Florida woman. You know why they go after Marjorie the way they do. She is an unbossed Congresswoman. Unbossed, unbought, unbowed. That is the mantra of America First. We will not cave. We will not cave to the foreign interests abroad or the special interests here at home. We will put our people first, and we will not make exception for that. And so, if you believe that America is a wonderful country, not an intractably racist country, if you believe that MAGA is patriotic, not deplorable, if you stand for the flag and kneel in prayer, if you want to build America up and not tear her down, then welcome, my fellow patriots. This is the movement for you. You belong with us to help our country to be prosperous and patriotic and unafraid. And so this tour is an invitation to our fellow patriots to join a positive populist movement. And we need our fellow patriots to join us because it is no longer just the red team against the blue team in politics. It's the establishment against the rest of us. And you know what? There's more of us than there are of them. They know it. That's why they're so afraid. That's why they hope that this movement dies. But we will never let her die because we will never let America die. From the deep state in government to the deep fakes in media, they try to defame, deplatform, and destroy that which they cannot control. and they could not control Trump, and they could not control me, and they certainly can't control Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Big government, big media, big tech, they would all breathe a sigh of relief if Marjorie Taylor Greene and I were no longer in the Congress fighting for you. They lie about us because we tell the truth about them, and we are not going to stop. And we are not powerless in this fight. We are a powerful movement. You are powerful people. As President Trump reminds us, we are the elite now. And so let our beautiful, cherished Constitution be our guide. We have a right to speak freely and to assemble, and we better use it. The terms of service on Twitter should never be more important than the values that undergird the First Amendment of our Constitution. And we need more than just a legalistic definition of the First Amendment. We need a culture of free speech in America. Can you believe the Facebook Oversight Board took President Trump off of their platform? What does that say? They're afraid of the truth. YouTube. Thank goodness YouTube does not define the truth or falsity related to the coronavirus. I think they do, but we shouldn't let them. YouTube would have banned Galileo if they had the chance. But the internet hall monitors out in Silicon Valley, they can't cancel this rally or this movement or this tour or this congressman. We have a right to bear arms in this country, and we better use it. The Second Amendment is not about hunting. It is not about sports shooting. The Second Amendment is about maintaining within the citizenry the ability to maintain an armed rebellion against a tyrannical government if necessary. And you know what? People may not like that. That might not be politically correct, but that is the truth. And oftentimes the truth is politically incorrect. We have a right to be free of unreasonable search and seizure, and we better protect it. For anyone who thinks that the deep state doesn't exist, if you have any of those friends that say, oh, if you think the deep state exists, you're a conspiracy theorist. Just look at what we've seen. An FBI lawyer changed evidence before a secret court to have the opportunity to surveil someone that they thought was close to President Trump so that they could exact their politics through the FBI. Former FBI disgraced director Jim Comey admitted under Congress that he leaked information for the purpose of getting a political investigation going. The former director of national intelligence, James Clapper, came before Congress and said, there is not mass collection of American data for surveillance. Turns out there was mass collection of American data for surveillance. Look at what they did to General Michael Flynn, a patriot for our country. Michael Flynn was going to reorganize the intelligence community and say that we had to stop just focusing on Russia and we needed to rise to the challenge to confront China, and they prosecuted him for it. The deep state is real. It is in places you wouldn't even think. The deep state is even at the post office. The United States Postal Service has an internet covert operations program. The post office. You know what? Deliver my mail on time and on budget before you spy on the social media proclivities and activities of our fellow Americans. I am proud to tell you that Marjorie Taylor Greene and I have introduced legislation to abolish the deep state internet covert operations program at the post office. We have a right to confront our accusers. in this country. How about that? There can be no due process here if the only process due to conservatives is to see leaks embroidered onto lies, then just endlessly repeated by the America Last media. I hope you guys show the 1,000 people outside that wanted to be in here to hear this message. But there are sometimes exceptional journalists who turn the cameras onto the liars. And in that vein, let me say, thank God for Project Veritas. It's not often you get an admission on video. But a CNN director on video said the reason they were repeating these lies and propagandizing my life is because I'm effective. Because I stand in the way of an agenda that will hurt my fellow Americans. They will not silence me, we will not back down, and the truth will prevail. CNN is just the worst. I already know, so today is my birthday. And I already know how CNN's going to report it. Matt Gaetz has wild parties surrounded by beautiful women in the villages. So just get ready for it. Marjorie Taylor Greene and I work in Washington, but we are not of Washington. And I must honestly tell you that the leaders of both parties in Washington, D.C. don't work for America First. They work for permanent Washington. Washington PACs fund their campaigns. Washington lobbyists broker their power. Their place in Washington drives every decision they make all throughout the day. And unfortunately, the wants and needs of the people often suffer. You know, the swamp is not just dangerous because it holds unruly creatures. There's a muck that sucks you in, drags you down, limits your escape. Marjorie and I are not powerful by typical measurements in Washington. She's lost her committees. I may lose mine. But we have a power that they can never take away, and it is tied to our connection to the people in this great country. You know who the fighters are. You can distinguish the phonies and the fakes from the real deal, and President Trump gave us the opportunity to see who is fighting for us clearly and decisively. America First means actually leaving Washington and going out into America. Part of being populist is showing that you are popular. Maybe our leadership should give that a try. If Liz Cheney could even find Wyoming on a map and went there, she would find a lot of very angry cowboys who are not happy with the fact that she's sort of for every war. War in Syria, for it. War against Trump and his supporters, for it. War against the Republican conference, war against her own voters. Well, it appears that enough of my colleagues on the Republican side have seen things our way, the way that we kind of laid out 3-4 months ago. And it appears that Liz Cheney may no longer be the chair of the Republican conference. This might be the first war she's ever sought to end. You know, the neoconservative war on the world might have been more tolerable if it wasn't also a war on the pocketbooks of so many Americans. Like, during the Obama, Bush, Cheney eras of interventionism, our gas prices were just through the roof. And during the Trump era of peace and prosperity and recognition for Israel and not starting new wars, actually, gas got a lot less expensive. So now, with a peace dividend, we have fewer of our bravest, most patriotic Americans coming home without arms and legs, and gas doesn't cost an arm and a leg in the Trump era. But you see now it's going up because of the bad decisions made by Joe Biden. We must put our citizens first. And speaking of citizens and citizenship, I don't think we should give citizenship to people who don't come to our country legally. Americans are dreamers too. But the Biden immigration plan is no dream, it's more of a nightmare. And there's this political coalition on immigration that team up to screw over the American people. So on the left, it's all about political power. That's the whole reason they are for limitless legal, illegal immigration, whatever they got to do to get people across the border. There are folks who were remaining in Mexico for their asylum claims to be resolved. Keep in mind, less than 1% of these people actually have valid asylum claims. But they were staying in Mexico, and now Biden is getting them in Mexico and distributing them in the United States as if they're going to show up for some asylum hearing. Do not let the Republican Party regress on this issue. Donald Trump showed clearly that we are not the party of amnesty. And so why do Democrats need this? It's a political refill. When you look at the major cities controlled by Democrats, San Francisco, LA, Chicago, New York, Detroit, they're in ruin. And so what they have to do is they have to have a political refill of a new population because they have failed the voters who have trusted them the most, oftentimes for generations. Now, I guess you need new blood when the old blood is toxified with pollutants, spilling in the streets in violence, and pulsing with addiction. And on the right, we've got establishment Republicans who are just all too willing to be shills for big corporations. And we got too many big corporations that are just fine with illegal immigration. They sort of diminish their risk by using employee leasing companies, and that is a basis to keep wages down for the American people or legal immigrants who have come here according to our process. It's about money and it's about power, and we have to stand against it. But if we want our politics and our policies to get better, if we want our trade deals to get better, if we want our money to be sounder, if we want our borders to have integrity, then our elections must have integrity. And the Democrats and all their buddies on these big corporate boards, they're telling us that getting an ID requirement to vote is racist. Now keep in mind, the very people who are telling you that getting an ID to vote would be racist want to require vaccine passports. So if an ID, well, I'll put it this way. If requiring vaccine passports isn't racist, then requiring an ID to vote isn't racist. And I think my colleague, Burgess Owens, said it best. Burgess Owens is a black Republican, serves from Utah, was in the NFL, tackled OJ. And Burgess says, requiring an ID to vote isn't racist. Assuming that black people can't get an ID is what is racist. And so we support the brave patriots in Georgia and in Florida and all across this country that want to protect the integrity of the vote. And that is going to be a major part of this tour that Marjorie and I bring across the country, demanding voter integrity. I do not diminish the challenge that is ahead. Democrats control some very powerful institutions. They control the presidency, the House, the Senate, and they're using that power to try to demoralize and at times even target their political enemies. But in America, patriotism always shines through when we demonstrate toughness and grit. In 1772, Sam Adams sent James Warren around the communities of Plymouth. And the goal was to try to excite the notion of independence in people and to get them engaged and thoughtful and proactive regarding the notion of a new great American nation. The patriotic spirit was always coming and going, and there were times it was more going than coming. And Warren reported back to Adams, "All are dead, and we cannot raise the dead without a miracle." Speaking of the patriots and those that we needed to maintain a revolution. And Adams replied, "Never despair. Let that be the motto of you and me. All are not dead, and where there is but a spark of patriotism, we will rekindle it." My friends, that spark is a raging inferno here in Florida and across the great MAGA nation. This is not a movement for the timid or the tired. This is a movement about winning. Winning so much that we get tired of it. After all, isn't that what we were promised? God bless you. Thank you. Thanks for having my back. Thanks for fighting with us. Let's go get them. We just thought we'd have a little chat. Talk about our time in Congress, what we got to do. I know there's more waiting, so if you got to go, other folks can come in. But I wanted, there was a moment in Congress, kind of behind the scenes, that I got to observe, and I wanted to be able to share it with all of you. With some Republicans, there is a real fear that if you fight hard, if you stick your neck out, well, gosh, then people might write mean blog posts about you or say awful things about your family on Twitter. And so there was a feeling among some of our fellow Republicans that if we would just abandon Marjorie, if we would just send her to some basement office and pretend she didn't exist, that maybe people would be nicer to us. And a lot of those folks didn't even know this fantastic patriotic woman. And Marjorie gave a speech to our conference about her life, about her experiences, about her ideology, about her mistakes. And she won so many of them over. And my fiance Ginger said to me, "Why can't you do that?" And I don't know, because I haven't really won that many over. But Marjorie, I wanted a chance for you to talk maybe less about policy, but more about the fantastic life you've led that has given all of us the great benefit of your public service.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. And Ginger, I don't know where you are right now, but honey, I'll talk to you about marriage later. It's okay. I've been married a long time. He's going to be fantastic. So I got judged very, very harshly by the media. They created a character of me that doesn't exist and decided to tell the whole world about this person. And the entire time, my husband, my kids, my family, my mom and my dad, and everyone we know was outraged at the media for what they were saying about me, because they knew that those things weren't true, and that's not who I am. And so, just as Matt said, they attacked all the Republicans in the conference and wanted all of them to denounce me and stay away from me, and they wanted, like Matt just said, basically put me in a basement and make me ride out my 2 years, and they figured they could shame me, and I wouldn't say anything.
That means you're doing something good if they hate you. Keep it up.
Thank you. So, it was at a time I hadn't even met all my Republican colleagues yet, and you know what I did? I stood up in front of the conference, and this was not public because our Republican conference meetings are private, and I decided to let all my colleagues know exactly who I am: a wife, a mother, a Christian, a business owner, and very much a normal person that makes mistakes, but I'm willing to say when I'm wrong. And that's what all of us are. We're regular people, right? And we don't need the shiny, perfect politicians, because those are fake. Perfect people don't exist. But courageous, bold, freedom-loving, patriotic people exist, and I'm so excited I'm sitting right beside one right here on the stage.
So during this time, Marjorie, you take a pretty unprecedented tactical move, and you hold a press conference. And the media brought knives to a flamethrower fight because you torched them. You pointed out the hypocrisy and the double standard from these media companies who lied to our country for years about President Trump, and they have the nerve to now come and question you. Why don't more of our colleagues do that?
They should, Matt. You're absolutely right. They should. Because here's the deal. The media, they do lie. They only take a little piece of what they want you to know about or what they want the people to know about. Then they twist it and they turn it. And they're fact-checking us right now on CNN, by the way. That's kind of fun. Oh, hey, Matt, did you know CNN has lost half of their ratings?
No.
So they need
the other half are just televisions that are left on in some of the nursing homes where Governor Cuomo put people with COVID back in.
Right. Because they were there by themselves because of COVID-19. That's a terrible shame. So they do it to themselves. Here we are, and Matt and I really want to protect all of our freedoms. We do. And freedom of the press is an amazing thing. And we want to protect that. We don't want government, state-run media. But the media does it to themselves. And they don't realize that all of you are sick of it. You're sick and tired of it. Right?
So, Marjorie, we've got this battle going on right now for the soul of the Republican Party. And after Trump became a Florida man again, there were a lot of these people that just thought, well, Biden presents the perfect opportunity to go back to normal, to put the lobbyists in charge, to just kind of slowly watch America slip into a state of decline. They want us to go back to being an amnesty party, to being a war party, to being a party that's for every trade deal, even if it really hurts our workers at the benefit of some foreign country or some special interest. And so give a little flavor to everyone here about the challenge we face in Washington, because let me tell you something. We don't get this kind of treatment in Washington. You're being a lot nicer to us than we're used to there. And give some, well, I love you too.
So one of the first times I really went to Matt was, I think this was literally, day number 1 or 2, first week. And I went in his office, and I had a question for him, because I'm used to owning and running a company where we make plans and we work really hard and we achieve our goals and we serve our customers. I said, Matt, when do we start getting together and planning things and working on how to stop the Democrats and what things we need to work on. And Matt said,
I'm still waiting. I've been there for 4 years. You know, and Marjorie came in just like a businesswoman. She said, all right, they've got the majority, but we've got seats on committees. Let's target the most important objectives. Let's find out which members of our team are good at certain areas. Let's try to help people that need to develop more to be good communicators. Let's get the right policy guidance for people that might need that. And
wow. Matt, that makes so much sense. What? That's what we should be doing.
Right, but like, so I didn't go to the Republican retreat because I feel like the Republicans have been in a constant state of retreat. I'm ready for an advance, not a retreat. And they go to the retreat, and basically the whole retreat is Kevin McCarthy fighting with Liz Cheney. And I'm watching this thinking, why did they not listen to us like 3-4 months ago when we said this is not going to work, right? We're all about inviting people's input and their thought process to the political right, but when somebody's fundamental view is that we don't need to work on election integrity, we don't need to worry about the crisis at the border, we could find 4 more countries to invade before lunchtime tomorrow, that person should not be the spokesperson of the Republican Party. We knew that then. I'm glad our colleagues have caught up. Maybe we're the leaders, Marjorie. They follow us.
You know, I didn't go to the Republican conference trip either. I didn't go on that retreat. So I don't know how much you guys know, but we already tried to remove Liz Cheney as our chairwoman. There was a very big effort there. We voted to kick her out a few months ago. We were ahead on this. We don't understand why it took leadership and everybody else to get to this point. But that's the problem, isn't it? It's exactly the problem. They don't understand what Matt just described about formulating plans and organizing and putting people in charge where their strengths are and developing something that's going to work and aggressively work while the Democrats are systematically tearing down our country and burning it to the ground.
Well, money plays a big role. And I could just tell you, there are 3 members of Congress who don't take corporate PAC money. Ted Cruz, Matt Gaetz, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. And
that's right. As a matter of fact, I think the $5 that someone donates to us means more to us and your support and your thank yous and your kind letters and the wonderful things you say mean more to us than
your prayers.
Your prayers, absolutely.
Some of us need those more than others at times.
That's right, that's right. So speaking of certain types of Republicans, the kinds that really don't appreciate the president and want to go along with insanity, there's another little guy that we both know that might need a little visit, I think, maybe on our rally tour. Little Adam. Do you know who I'm talking about? He put together a PAC, speaking of PACs, and his is called Country First PAC. And his plan for the next 2 years is to get rid of Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. Because he thinks we're the problem in the Republican Party. What do you all think about that? He thinks there should be bipartisanship with the Democrat socialists. How about that? Yeah, we don't agree, do we?
No, I think that for our movement to remain inspirational and successful and to draw people in, we have to show the ability to tell the truth about some of our own. And if we have people as Republicans who care more about the PACs donating to them than the people they're supposed to serve, you should know that. If last year Liz Cheney raised more money from PACs than from actual human beings, you should know that. If Adam Kinzinger wants to be the front man for the establishment to bring our party back to the days of Mitt Romney and John Kasich. And you know what? I'm not going back. This is Donald Trump's party, and I'm a Donald Trump Republican.
Yeah. Trump is the leader of the Republican Party.
I know what he's going to say when we talk tonight. He's going to be like, Matt, I've got to go to the villages. I miss the villages. I say, they're ready for you, Mr. President. They're ready.
Okay, let's tell him a few little stories.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, I did talk to one Democrat recently. Just one. It's a lady from New York 14. You see, I'm from Georgia 14, Georgia 14th district, and she's from New York's 14th district. AOC. Wait. I mean Sandy Cortez. So little Sandy wrote a little 14-page piece of legislation called the Green New Deal. Is anyone familiar? Little Sandy has a degree in economics. I have a business degree, and I'm a successful business owner. But Sandy has worked in the restaurant industry, and that's a hard job. I waited tables in college, so I commend her for that, and I'm serious. But I have a real big problem with the Green New Deal. It's going to destroy our economy. And it's going to hand over our energy needs to China, who, by the way, has no interest in bowing to the climate gods. As a matter of fact, President Xi has said that he's going to increase production and increase carbon output to 2035 when Joe Biden says he's cutting ours in half by 2030. I don't think that's a very smart strategy, do you? No. So I'd been tweeting at AOC because social media seems to be the only way to talk to her, and she didn't tweet back, so I don't know what that's all about. But I've been saying I want to debate about the Green New Deal. Because we owe it to the American people to debate the Green New Deal from the opposite sides, because it's the American people that it would truly affect. And so Matt and I were hanging out in the chamber, watching the insanity that goes on every day. I think Jerry Nadler was taking a nap. Nancy Pelosi was not up there in the chair where she's supposed to be, like she never is. Where does she go? Do we even know?
She's off ripping up speeches.
Yeah. She's getting her hair blown out.
There's nothing wrong with getting your hair blown out.
That's true.
Nothing at all.
Matt does have the greatest hair, everybody. So I said, oh my gosh, there's Sandy. She's down there. I see her. So I hopped up, went down, and I was like, hey, I'm Marjorie Taylor Greene.
At this point, I gather everybody in the back, and I'm like, this is going to be good.
I'm like, glad I caught you here where we work, or something like that. But I'd like to debate you on the Green New Deal. Oh. Well, first off, she wasn't very happy to talk to me. I don't understand why. And she said, well, have you even read it? And I was like, oh my goodness, she sounds like my kids did when they were in high school. I said, I've read most of it. She goes, well, if you would read it, then we could talk about debating it. I was like, okay, I think I'll finish the 14 pages, and then we'll debate it. And she said, well, you want to debate like on national television and pay-per-view. I said, yeah. Yes, I do. I want as many people to see it as possible. And she couldn't believe that. And I said, here's the situation. I'm a business owner. I sign paychecks. I've created jobs. I build the economy. You've never done that before, and you have no right to introduce the Green New Deal that's going to destroy our economy. Then she told me something I didn't know. She said, well, I've launched restaurants in New York. She's launched restaurants in New York. But here's the deal, guess what? She didn't own one. She didn't work through the past year where they could barely keep their doors open, and many of them closed down. She has no clue what it's like to try to bring customers in, try to make and keep your employees on the payroll, and pay the rent, and pay the bills, and hope to God that maybe you have a little money left to pay yourself. She doesn't understand that, but she's got a degree in economics and she's launched restaurants before.
Well, she is not my least favorite member of Congress. That goes to Adam Schiff. This guy, the lies just pour out of him. And what I wonder is, did they think we were never going to get the truth? Did they think we wouldn't finally see that the whole Russia hoax was built on a lie? Did they think that President Trump wouldn't release the transcript from the Ukraine call? These people had a bloodlust for impeachment, and it hurt our country. We could have done so much more if they would have seen the potential in coming together and advancing our nation. But yeah, if there was one member I had to get rid of, if I had Maxine or Schiff, it would be a tough one. It would be a tough one.
You know what? I have to tell you, aren't we all thankful for the hard work that Congressman Matt Gaetz did during this Russia hoax? Thank you. He defended our president. He fought for him. He fought for our country against the big lie, which is Russian collusion conspiracy theories.
Thank you. Thank you. I tell you, they always come for the fighters, don't they? They don't come for the meek. They come for the fighters. And, it's easy to see now how fake all of that was after we saw Mueller testify. But at the time, we had a bunch of Republicans embracing Mueller. Paul Ryan and, to an extent, Trey Gowdy. They were saying, well, if we just let Mueller do his work, and then we just have to hope Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong. And there were people like Jim Jordan and John Ratcliffe and others who saw through it. And by the way, you know who was another hero during the Russia hoax? The best governor in America, Ron DeSantis. Oh, they love DeSantis. They love DeSantis. They got their vaccinations in the villages. Yeah, you hear that, Ron? Man, I remember campaigning with Ron DeSantis when we could have had the whole campaign meet in an elevator and still have room for social distancing. But he's done a great job. He's shown true leadership. And as we take this tour around the country, we want to highlight America First leaders all across the country who need that, because when you're willing to draft in with the establishment, there's so much support for you. The lobbyists will tell you how to vote. The PAC fundraisers will pour the money on you. They'll tell you when the embassy parties are, and it's a really nice life. But if you kind of post up on them like DeSantis has, like Kristi Noem has in South Dakota, then they come for you. I love you too. Don't say that too loud. CNN will be asking if you're like my ex-wife or something.
I want to bring something up to you all. I think it's very important for us to recognize. I really want to say how much I'm thankful to my husband and my children and my family, and how and how thankful we are to Ginger and all of Matt's family. They really mean the world to us. They're our support. They're our backbone. There's nothing better
Ginger and
than
I'll
family.
we'll get married soon, and you know, when you say your vows, they say, do you take them for better or worse? And Ginger won't just come with a ring; she'll come with a record. So, thank you.
All right, I got one more request for you guys. How about singing Happy Birthday to the Congressman? All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Matt. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for supporting our
you.
tour. Thank you for supporting Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. The best is yet to come. God bless you.